I've got something super exciting here for you. These are my new designs with joggles.com of foam stamps. This is hot off the press, brand new. I know they look like a pile of cookies, but they are a pile of wonderful, creative possibility. These are laser carved foam stamps that I'm going to use to create collage papers. There's going to be several designs, and as soon as I get a link, they're not even available yet. As soon as I get a link, I will make them available to you. But I wanted to show you a sort of a sneak peek, and I've got a lot of designs available, but I'm just going to show you a few today. This is very exciting. These are wonderful patterns for creating collage paper, and I know you're going to really enjoy them. So let's look at a couple of my favorites. They're all my favorites, but these are a couple that I really like. This one is really good. So we're going to focus on these few. We're going to make them as a stamp layer on top of some papers that I've already created with my Italian wedding stencil on rice paper. So I've got some prints ready to go, and this is going to be an additional layer of texture and color and pattern, and I'm going to show you how they work. I've got my 8x10 gel plate. I've got my 6-inch brayer. All of my supplies are always on my Amazon shopping list, and that link is below. And like I said, as soon as I have a link to share with you, as soon as these are available, they're not even available yet, I have prototypes here to share with you, and I'll get you this link from Joggles. So let's start with this one, which is really kind of cool because it's like a chain link in that the shapes are interlinked with each other, and then when we stamp it over and next to itself, we can interlink it and continue to interlink it, and it becomes one great big pattern. It appears like a stencil, only you can make it as big or to cover as much area as you like. So I'm going to try that one on the metallic gold sheet that I have here. So in order to make a nice second layer color, I'm going to use metallic gold. And then I'm going to mix in a little permanent violet dark. And these are golden fluid acrylics. The metallic gold iridescent colors blended, they look beautiful on their own, but they just add an amazing shimmer and shine and color to when blended with other colors. So when you think about using gold just on its own, think about blending it in with something like permanent violet dark and getting like this wonderful metallic golden lavender. Gold looks amazing blended in with magenta. You can blend copper in with colors. It's wonderful. So just think about using iridescence to enhance another color rather than just by themselves. So this is a gold base. So I wanted to add gold, and I wanted to go just slightly darker than what I had here, but I might need to go a wee bit darker than that even. So I'm going to add a little bit more paint. Swirling the brayer to blend it together and then spreading it out. So in essence, my gel plate here is going to become my stamp pad. So I'm going to take my foam stamp, press it in to the pad, and transfer it onto the paper. And this is just a bit darker than the paint color that I have on there from the stencil, which is great because it's going to make a nice subtle second layer. We don't want to go too dark too fast. So I'm just pressing onto the gel plate and then pressing on to the paper. These are wonderful because they're about 1/2 inch thick, so you can grab them by the edges. They don't need to be mounted. They're very lightweight if you want to take them with you. And in terms of storing them, they're super lightweight. And they clean up. For cleanup, I just press as much paint off of them as possible so that there's not a buildup. So I just keep pressing them until no more paint transfers. You can also throw them in a bin of soapy water, but the fluid acrylics dry so quickly that sometimes it's hard to get it into the water before it's dry. So look at this loveliness. I've just created this wonderful large pattern with the links, the link effect of this foam stamp. Let's do a different color on this end. Let's go with an orange. So I'll do a little gold, and I'll do a little orange, pyrrole orange. That would be a nice color with the yellow and the gold. So I'm blending this out, swirling it around, blending it out. There's still some purple in my brayer and on the plate, so it dulled the orange down a bit, which is not a problem because it'll sort of be harmonious with the dulled gold that's on here, and that's dulled because it's got a bit of a purple second layer on it. So there we go. There's a bit more paint. It's hot out here and I don't want it to dry too fast. So my next one is this one. It sort of looks like a rose. Let's use that one. So pressing and transferring. Oh, that's a little light. Yeah, that's better. So I'm pressing with my palm in both places, making sure I pick up enough paint in a dry climate and making sure I press down hard enough. And I'm going to come over even into here. Layering is our friend. Multiple layers is what you do to create beautiful collage papers. So we'll layer a little into that end. And now I'm going to grab some primary magenta. I'm going to put that right into this leftover orange so I can get another layer that'll be even a bit darker onto this sheet. So now, got dirty fingers. So now I'm going to put the primary magenta on top of the orange. That's a little darker. And you can press multiple times and get sort of ghost prints off of this stamp as well. So you can go for a lighter print and a second and third print. Isn't that a cool one? Layering it over part of this one. They're wonderful to use. They're so lightweight, and because of the thickness of them, they're easy to grab, to press onto the paper, and to press off the plate. The layers are really starting to become some nice paper here. So now we're going to come into cooler colors, greens and blues. We're going to put our warm colors away. We could always put warm color over the cool color, but I'm thinking if you were going to want to create a green or blue paper, you'd want to sort of stay in that same family. So here I've got a cobalt turquoise, which is darker than the lower layer. I mixed teal with the gold, which gave me sort of a metallic green, and I'm going to put this dark cobalt on top of that. Now, we may pick up some of the reds from the previous layer on the plate, and that would be okay, but we're not pulling a print, we're stamping, so I'm going to sort of stay in the middle. All right, so the next one I want to show you is, I've got two more favorites here. This one that sort of looks like a wagon wheel and a set of stripes. That sort of goes with this one. That's a good combo, the dots and the dashes. Let's try that one, and then we'll use this one last. So let's do these alternating. This is wonderful. I love this because it just gives you these, because it's round, it's organic, and they come together, and it's not a hard edge. So it's going to give you some wonderful organic dot pattern. It's not bubble wrap, and it's not rigid and the same. They're all, I drew these by hand, so every circle is not even a perfect circle, and they're all different sizes. And isn't that wonderful how you can just kind of keep putting this dot pattern over the whole sheet? I love this one. So simple, but so effective. There's some of that, and let's add to that cobalt teal a little bit of a dark blue. So I'm going to add a little anthracnone in with what I've got left over. Come on. Who's in charge of ordering paint around here? So I'm going to blend that. That's really dark. That's going to bring us dark, really fast, but it'll provide high contrast, which could be super interesting. So now I'll take the sort of the partner to the dots, the dashes, and put them on top with the dots and over on their own. So again, these lines are not uniform, and because they end circularly, they kind of cover the page really nicely. They intermingle nicely. So we've got that with the dots, and then we can also do it on its own. And the second print, if you pull a second print, like stamp it once and then stamp it again, you get a nice softer edges, not full coverage. It really has that stamped look when you pull the second one, which I really like that. So even a third one sometimes, depending on how subtle you want to be. So here you can see the first, the second, and the third. So you can get even more subtle over the teal. And so since we're in the teal family here, I'm going to grab some turquoise phthalo, which is a much darker in the teal. And let's just roll out some of that. Now I've got gold in my brayer, so it's going to end up being metallic. It's going to lighten it up a bit. Add a little bit more. Swirl. When you want to blend two colors, you need to swirl it and then roll. Swirl it and then roll. That's how you get them blended together the best. So now that's pretty dark. That's definitely going to show up over this. So let's grab one, another fun one. Gosh, by the time we're done, I'm going to show you all of them. This one. This is sort of like a starburst, and it's big solids. So it'll combine nicely with the fine lines of another stamp design. So if we take that and then we add the fine lines of the dotted one, that's a good combo. Thick and thin. And you can see I'm just transferring the paint from the gel plate to the stamp, to the foam stamp, to the paper, and then I'm printing what's left on the gel plate. So I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I have. You know I could just keep going, but I'll shut off the camera before I do that.